Narine. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. We're continuing to read from the 10th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. We just started it yesterday, chapter 1. We heard that at the end of the 9th canto, Sukadev Goswami, when he was mentioning the dynasty of the Yadus, he mentioned in very brief summary the activities of Lord Krishna. And now we are seeing here that Parikshit Maharaj is eager to hear more about Krishna. And he's asking Sukadev Goswami more about Krishna's pastimes. So we'll continue with text 4. Nivrittatarshe upagiyamana
निवृत्तदर्शाय उपगीयमानात्
Bhava Shodachodramano Bhirama
भवौषधाच्छोत्रमनोऽभिरामात्
Ka Uttama Shloka Gunanubhadat
कप्तं श्लोका गुण अनुवादात्
Oman Virajita Vina Pashuknat.
पुमान् विरजेत विना पशुघ्नात्.
Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Glorification of the Supreme Personality of Godhead is performed in the Parampara system, that is, it is conveyed from the spiritual master to disciple. Such glorification is relished by those no longer interested in the false, temporary glorification of this cosmic manifestation. Descriptions of the Lord are the right medicine for the conditioned soul undergoing repeated birth and death. Therefore, who will cease hearing such glorification of the Lord, except a butcher or one who is killing his own self? In India, it is a practice among the general populace to hear about Krishna, either from Bhagavad Gita or from Srimad Bhagavatam, in order to gain release from the disease of repeated birth and death. So by hearing, simply by hearing submissively Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita in the disciplic succession, we can get liberated, can get liberation, can cross over this ocean of material world. No more birth and death. Although India is now fallen, when there is a message that someone will speak about Bhagavad Gita or Srimad Bhagavatam, thousands of people still gather to hear. This verse indicates, however, that such recitation of Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam must be done by persons completely freed from material desires. Nivritta tarshe. So this hearing should be heard from in the disciplic succession, from the devotees. Everyone within this material world, beginning from Brahma down to the insignificant ant, is full of material desires for sense enjoyment. And everyone is busy in sense gratification. But when thus engaged, one cannot fully understand the value of Krishna Katha, either in the form of Bhagavad Gita or in Srimad Bhagavatam. That's what we are busy for the whole day, our time and energy. Each day, every day, how can I be more comfortable here in this material world? How can I be more and more comfortable? So if we hear the glories of the Supreme Personality of Godhead from liberated persons, this hearing will certainly free us from the bondage of material activities. But hearing Srimad Bhagavatam spoken by a professional reciter cannot actually help us achieve liberation. So there are some professional reciters of Bhagavatam. They will hold a 7-day hearing of Bhagavad Gita, but that kind of hearing will not help. We have to hear from the devotee. Krishna Katha is very simple. In Bhagavad Gita, it is said that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. As he himself explains, Mata Parataram Nanyat Kinchid Asti Dhananjaya. O Arjun, there is no truth superior to me. Bhagavad Gita 7.7. Simply by understanding this fact that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, one can become a liberated person. So in fourth chapter also Krishna says, Janma karma cha me divyam, evam yoveti tattvataha, tyaktva deham punarjanma naiti mameti, so Arjuna. That anyone who can understand that the nature of my appearance and activities is transcendental, then he goes to the spiritual world, he gets liberated. Just understanding that Krishna is God, that his activities, his form is spiritual, one can get liberated. But especially in this age, because people are interested in hearing Bhagavad Gita from unscrupulous persons who depart from the simple presentation of Bhagavad Gita and distort it for their personal satisfaction, they fail to derive the real benefit. There are big scholars, politicians, philosophers, and scientists who speak on Bhagavad Gita in their own polluted way, and people in general hear from them, being uninterested in hearing the glories of the Supreme Personality of Godhead from a devotee. A devotee is one who has no other motive for reciting Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam than to serve the Lord. So because the recitation of the devotee is pure, he is reciting Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam to glorify the Lord, to serve the Lord. He has no other intention. So that's why it is so pure, and it works on our heart then. It helps us to purify our heart. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has therefore advised us to hear the glories of the Lord from a realized person. Bhagavad Paro Diya Bhagavata Sthane. Unless one is personally a realized soul in the science of Krishna consciousness, a neophyte should not approach him to hear about the Lord, for this is strictly forbidden by Srila Sanatana Goswami, who quotes from Padma Puran. So that's why Lord Chaitanya is also saying, hear from a devotee. So like this, we are hearing from Srila Prabhupada. We are hearing Bhagavatam in the disciplic succession. So Padma Puran is saying, a Vaishnav Mukhodgirnam Putam Hari Kathamritam Shravanam Neva Kartavyam Sarpo Chishtam Yathapaya. One should avoid hearing from a person not situated in Vaishnav behavior. A Vaishnav is Nivrita Trishna, that is, he has no material purpose. For his only purpose is to preach Krishna consciousness. So-called scholars, philosophers, and politicians exploit the importance of Bhagavad Gita by distorting its meaning for their own purposes. Therefore, this verse warns that Krishna Katha should be recited by a person who is Nivrita Trishna. Sukadev Goswami epitomizes the proper reciter for Srimad Bhagavatam, and Parikshit Maharaj, who purposefully left his kingdom and family prior to meeting death, epitomizes the person fit to hear it. So Sukadev Goswami has no other intention other than to serve the Lord. His only intention is to please the Lord. And Parikshit Maharaj is greatly eager to hear about the Lord. He's so eager. We can hear as, time and time again, he puts the questions to Sukadev Goswami. He wants to hear more. A qualified reciter of Srimad Bhagavatam gives the right medicine, Bhava Aushadhi, for the conditioned souls. The Krishna consciousness movement is therefore trying to train qualified preachers to recite Srimad Bhagavatam and Bhagavad Gita throughout the entire world so that people in general, in all parts of the world, may take advantage of this movement and thus be relieved of the threefold miseries of material existence. The instructions of Bhagavad Gita and the descriptions of Srimad Bhagavatam are so pleasing that almost anyone suffering from the threefold miseries of material existence will desire to hear the glories of the Lord from these books and thus benefit on the path of liberation. Two classes of men, however, will never be interested in hearing the message of Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam: those who are determined to commit suicide and those determined to kill cows and other animals for the satisfaction of their own tongues. Although such persons may make a show of hearing Srimad Bhagavatam at a Bhagavad Saptaha, this is but another creation of the karmis, who cannot derive any benefit from such a performance. The word Pashuganat is important in this connection. Pashugna means butcher. Persons fond of performing ritualistic ceremonies for elevation to the higher planetary systems must offer sacrifices, yagyas, by killing animals. Lord Buddha Dev therefore rejected the authority of the Vedas because his mission was to stop animal sacrifices, which are recommended in Vedic ritualistic ceremonies. So Lord Buddha, he came for this because people were misusing the Vedas, killing animals in the names of rituals. So Gita Govinda, Nindasya Yagya Vidir Ahaha Shruti Jatam Sadaya Hridaya Darshita Pashugatam Keshavadirta Buddha Sharira Jai Jagadisha Hare. This is Gita Govinda. Even though animal sacrifices are sanctioned in Vedic ceremonies, men who kill animals for such ceremonies are considered butchers. Butchers cannot be interested in Krishna consciousness, for they are already materially allured. Their only interest lies in developing comforts for the temporary body. So Gita Govinda is describing the activities of Lord Buddha. He is an incarnation of the Lord. Keshavadrita Buddha Sharira, Jai Jagadisha Hare. He came to stop this unnecessary killing. So, Bhogeshwarya Prasaktanam, Taya Prata Chetasam, Vyavasayatmika Buddhi, Samadhav na Vidhiyate. In the minds of those who are too attached to sense enjoyment and material opulence, and who are bewildered by such things, the resolute determination of devotional service to the Supreme Lord does not take place. Bhagavad Gita 244. Krishna is telling in Bhagavad Gita, he's telling us that what happens when we get too attached to this material world. We're too attached to only sense enjoyment. We want nothing else, only material, material. We're not interested in anything else. Then, then we don't get that determination to engage in devotional service. The resolute determination. Because then the determination is for sense enjoyment. The intelligence is only being used for sense enjoyment, for material attachment. Srila Narottam Das Thakur says, Manushya Janma Paya Radha Krishna Na Bhajiya Janiya Shuniya Vishakainu. So Narottam Das Thakur is saying that I got this human birth, Manushya Janma Paya, did not worship Radha Krishna. Radha Krishna na bhajiya, did not worship. Janiya Shunya Vishakainu. On purpose, I've just had poison. Means spoiled the human birth by not worshipping Radha and Krishna. Anyone who is not Krishna conscious and who therefore does not engage in the service of the Lord is also Pashugna, for he is willingly drinking poison. Such a person cannot be interested in Krishna Katha because he still has a desire for material sense gratification. He is not Nivritta Trishna. As it is said, Trevargikaste Purusha Vimukha Harimedasa. Those interested in Trivarga, that is, in Dharma, Artha, and Kam, are religious for the sake of achieving a material position with which to gain better facilities for sense gratification. Such persons are killing themselves by willingly keeping themselves in the cycle of birth and death. They cannot be interested in Krishna consciousness. So when we are keeping ourselves from engaging in devotional service, we are killing our own soul. We are keeping ourselves in this material world, not taking advantage of this human birth. For Krishna Katha, topics about Krishna consciousness, there must be a speaker and a hearer, both of whom can be interested in Krishna consciousness if they are no longer interested in material topics. One can actually see how this attitude automatically develops in persons who are Krishna conscious. Although the devotees of the Krishna consciousness movement are quite young men, they no longer read materialistic newspapers, magazines, and so on, for they are no longer interested in such topics. Nivrita Tarshe. They completely give up the bodily understanding of life. For topics concerning Uttama Shloka, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the spiritual master speaks, and the disciple hears with attention. Unless both of them are free from material desires, they cannot be interested in topics of Krishna consciousness. The spiritual master and disciple do not need to understand anything more than Krishna, because simply by understanding Krishna and talking about Krishna, one becomes a perfectly learned person. Yasmin Vigyate Sarvam Evam Vigyatam Bhavati. Mundaka Upanishad 1.3. So by understanding Krishna, by hearing Krishna Katha, one becomes perfectly learned. One does not need to learn so many different scriptures. Just hearing from Bhagavad Gita and Bhagavatam from the devotees. The Lord sits within everyone's heart, and by the grace of the Lord, the devotee receives instructions directly from the Lord Himself, who says in Bhagavad Gita 15.15, Sarvasya chaha hridisa nivishto mata smritirgyanamapohanam cha vedescha sarver aham eva vedyo Vedanta Krit Vedavid Eva Chaham. I am seated in everyone's heart, and from me come remembrance, knowledge, and forgetfulness. By all the Vedas I am to be known. Indeed, I am the compiler of Vedanta, and I am the knower of the Vedas. Krishna consciousness is so exalted that one who is perfectly situated in Krishna consciousness, under the direction of the spiritual master, is fully satisfied by reading Krishna Katha as found in Srimad Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita, and similar Vedic literatures. Since merely talking about Krishna is so pleasing, we can simply imagine how pleasing it is to render service to Krishna. Prabhupada is saying that just hearing about Krishna is so pleasing. So how pleasing it would be to serve Krishna. When discourses on Krishna Katha take place between a liberated spiritual master and his disciple, others also sometimes take advantage of hearing these topics and also benefit. These topics are the medicine to stop the repetition of birth and death. The cycle of repeated birth and death, by which one takes on different bodies again and again, is called bhava or bhavarog. If anyone, willingly or unwillingly, hears Krishna Katha, his bhavarog, the disease of birth and death, will certainly stop. So what is the medicine to stop this birth and death?
Krishna Katha.
Yeah, simply
Krishna
by hearing
Katha.
Krishna.
So Krishna
Krishna
Katha,
Katha.
hearing Krishna's Katha is so powerful. So many transcendentalists are trying so hard to get out of the material world. doing so many austerities, so many penances. So takes sometimes lifetimes and lifetimes. But by hearing Krishna Katha from the devotee, one can easily get out of this material world. Therefore, Krishna Katha is called Bhava Aushad, the remedy to stop the repetition of birth and death. Karmis or persons attached to material sense enjoyment generally cannot give up their material desires. But Krishna Katha is such a potent medicine that if one is induced to hear Krishna Kirtan, he will certainly be freed from this disease. We are attached, we are very attached to sense enjoyment, very attached to the material world. But somehow or the other, if we can hear Krishna Katha from the devotees, it acts. It will act in our heart. A practical example is Dhruva Maharaj, who at the end of his tapasya was fully satisfied. When the Lord wanted to give Dhruv a benediction, Dhruva refused it. Swamin Kritharthosmi Varam na yache. My dear Lord, he said, I am fully satisfied. I do not ask for any benediction for material sense gratification. So Dhruv Maharaj, he didn't want anything. He was just simply very satisfied. He had seen the Lord. He didn't want anything else. We actually see that even young boys and girls in the Krishna consciousness movement have given up their long practice of bad habits like illicit sex, meat eating, intoxication, and gambling, because Krishna consciousness is so potent that it gives them the full satisfaction. They are no longer interested in material sense gratification. So by hearing about Krishna, one gets fully peaceful, fully satisfied. By not hearing about Krishna, we are killing our souls and continuing this cycle of birth and death. Did you all want to add anything? Any comments?
So nicely, they have touched so many points in this. The importance of Krishna Katha, hearing in disciplic succession from a pure devotee, bona fide guru, submissively. So
Strong message. Yeah.
so many examples, yeah. And so many practical examples. Like how I said that, and I think that was the reason in the olden times, people used to hear it every day, read, hear every day in the temples. I remember that they used to be in the evening, the kathas. So it was so powerful.
That's right. And we can see here that Parikshit Maharaj, he's going to die now soon. And he is saying that this is the right medicine. Yeah, he's saying this is the medicine actually to give up this birth and death, being in the cycle of birth and death. And he wants to hear more and more from Sukadev Goswami. And that's all that is needed. Just continuing to hear about Krishna. Should we stop here?
Yeah.
Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Gaur Bhakta Vrinda ki jai. Hare Krishna. Thank you all